Hey, how's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be swapping out my rear transmission that I grenaded at the go-kart track. So what I'm going to do is I have to pull the entire engine and transmission out, drain all the fluids, literally everything as if I was swapping an engine. Unfortunately, I have a lot of frames and a whole bunch of fabrication underneath that I don't want to mess with just to drop the transmission out. I like the way the car drives. I'm just going to leave it the way it is, and I'm going to pull the engine and tranny out from the top. So what I'm going to do is take the axles out from both sides. Then I'm going to remove fuel lines, coolant, oil, tranny fluid, get the clutch lines off, everything. It all needs to come off, and I can do it pretty quick, that's for sure. But honestly, it is a huge job. Either way you look at it, even if it is quick, it's very difficult for me to find enough time to do the whole process from start to finish, because I needed to weld the diff and a fresh tranny, reassemble, and then I needed to remove the tranny from the car that has the blown up tranny, and then install the new tranny and then reinstall. It's very difficult for me to do that, especially this week, because I had a lot of things going on. I am a landlord, and that really came into play this week, so I'm just doing as much as I possibly can to keep this car going and keep all these goals and priorities in line. I do have other priorities as well, but car is definitely one priority for me personally, because I do love driving the car. I do love touching the car and enjoying it as much as I physically possibly can. So here she comes. Just in a blink of an eye, the engine's on the way out. I did not remove the turbo. I did not remove the exhaust. I didn't remove the intake. Great success. Sweet. Engine is out. Took me an hour and a half. Took me much longer than I normally have, because I haven't done this in a while. And honestly, I was not motivated today to do this because it's late. It doesn't look late, but it's late. I did so much already today, and it's just adding to this long day. Anyways, got it out. I did have fun doing it, which is always fun. So I actually took it all out in one piece. Didn't even take the exhaust off. Tranny's on, everything's on there, all the wiring's still there. So all I gotta do is pop this tranny off and then put the new tranny on, and then right back in she goes. So what I'm gonna do is spin this bad boy around where I can get some light, and then I'm gonna pull it off. And just like that, tranny's off, just bolted off, good to go. The thing that took me so long with removing the engine, is I usually have my truck here, and as you can see, the truck is not here. If you pay attention to my videos, my truck is always here. And it's not here because I had to lend it to my girlfriend, and she needed it, so she took it. And all my tools are in the back of it. All the tools I regularly use are in my truck, because I only need a couple tools. I need an impact, I need a couple sockets. Like literally I have everything in a bag to take out the engine. It's just a handful of stuff, and I didn't have that handful of stuff. So I had to dig through all my crap here and find those sockets that I needed. And like it's important on length too, because if you have the right like deep or narrow or middle length sockets, it makes the job so much easier. So I didn't have all that stuff, so I had to take like 20 minutes to look for some stuff. That was kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. It's all off. I didn't even have to take the turbo off or nothing. So that is chilling, because all I gotta do is replace that. I really do want to see what happened inside. I think the ring gear actually took a bunch of teeth off, but I'm not sure. I would have to remove the case and see. I will definitely do that. but I'll do that in another video. I'm going to go right ahead and install the transmission that I kind of built up to put back into the car. So I'm gonna put the cover, because I didn't put the cover on, it was kind of crappy. I'm gonna steal the cover off of this tranny, put it on that one, and then put it on that engine, and then put the engine back in. So I got the cap on this tranny, and you always have to remember to lube your shaft. So this is the release bearing for the clutch, and it pivots on a shaft. It needs to be lubed up real good, or you will break your transmission. You'll break this sleeve that goes over top of the splines here. So that's really important. I've learned that from experience too, because I literally didn't lube this one time and I snapped this sleeve on the inside, and then it came right off the case. So the case was damaged, but the gears were still good. So now I'm gonna just throw it all right back onto my engine. I'm not even gonna take a look at my clutch, to be honest, because it's probably really bad, and if I look at it, I will probably not want to throw this tranny back on and put the thing back in the car. But it wasn't it wasn't slipping, so I'm just gonna put it back on without looking. So what I always do when I'm putting an engine in, I always strap the transmission to the point where the crane is grabbing the engine, and then I can tighten this strap until the engine is completely level, because those adapters for putting engines in that are adjustable, they're hundreds of dollars. You could put those hundreds of dollars and just buy an engine hoist, and then you're set, and just use a strap. And as you can see, I will level this bad boy right out, and it just slides right in. So if you have your engine and tranny completely level when you're dropping it in, it will literally just slide right in, and it is magic. See, look how level that is. Like, it's literally perpendicular with the car. And if it is, it doesn't make it longer, because if something's on an angle, it makes it longer. I have about an inch, and so that's about half an inch on each side in between the frames to put this in. So if it's on an angle, it's not going to slide in. And if it's level, what do you know? It just slides right in. So after about 5 minutes, boom, all of a sudden, engine's back in the car, and we're pretty much just plug and play from then on. And there we go, she's sitting in her perches, and I'm starting to put bolts in, and she's looking gravy from here on. Straps are off. Just a nugget-dugget here and a nugget-dugget there, and then get everything off, chains off, get that jack out of the way. It's time to boogie. So what I did to remove the engine is all I did was take the fuse box. So I took the wires off that went to my gauge cluster and my battery, and now I'm reassembling that, just plugging it all back in and reattaching the grounds to the transmission, because the transmission grounds need to come off because I replaced the tranny, obviously. So we're plugging away here, getting things done, and I cannot stop looking at my bald spot forming. It's driving me nuts. If you want, put your personal opinion if I'm balding or not. I think it looks like I'm starting to bald, but we'll see. Just kind of scares me. I'm not old, I'm only 26. Just putting the throttle cable back in, jacking the car up, and then it's time to throw some axles in. We're really getting somewhere. When I remove my axles, I do not remove the actual hub from my bags, because if I do that, it will adjust my camber and caster, and it will ruin my toe and everything. So I never do that. What I do is I remove the ball joint, the lower one, and then I can take the axle out, put the axle in without my toe, caster, or camber changing whatsoever. So
It's a quick, easy way to do it. Always remove the lower ball joint if you can. Now I'm just installing my ECU back into the car, plugging the 3 plugs that are required to run the car back in, running my MAP sensor. So that is a map sensor, and it runs a vacuum line from the ECU to the intake, and that is as simple as that to connect my ECU. And then coolant line. So I'm running around doing my original setup that I had for the end of the season. This is a temporary setup just to figure out how the air ducting is working. And now for the half shaft and CV axle on the passenger side. This one is much more difficult, especially when you don't have a hoist, but I don't know what it's like to have a hoist because I've never had this car on one. So it's just get it done. Just get on your back, get on your creeper, get in there, do it up. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you've noticed, but when I'm working on swapping engines, I work from side to side. So where I'm standing, I work there. I don't go left to right to back to left to right to back. I try and keep it from right side to left side. So if I'm working on the right side, I do all the fuel lines on the right side, I do the axle on the right side, I do the coolant lines on the right side, wiring. So when I leave that positioning, I don't have to go back and look over what hasn't been done because I know it's done. So I just be as meticulous as I can and continue to complete everything as I'm going around the car so I don't forget. It really seems like I contradicted myself there, but honestly, like, I was just filling fluids in after. But anyways, I've been lately trying to put in about half of a liter of concentrated coolant into my system because I normally just run water. And with just running water, it's extremely hard on my water pump from what I've found out, and it's making my water rusty as it comes out. So I'm gonna try and put some coolant in. I don't like using a lot of coolant because when I'm doing a burnout or something and the car overheats, and I look at the dash and it'll say over 200, and I'm just looking at it. It's not like I'm gonna lift. I don't ever lift. If I'm doing a burnout, I'm doing a burnout. So I don't like spitting out a whole bunch of coolant onto wherever I'm doing a burnout because I don't have the mental capabilities of lifting if the car is overheating, which is an issue, but it's not an issue, if you know what I'm saying. Honestly, I have big plans for Red Ted, but that is for later.
So the MX3 is back. It's running mint. Tranny's running awesome. Shifted, mint, drove it around a little bit, did a little burnout as you saw. I'm freaking stoked. It's all swapped over, ready to go. So I will be going back to the track, going back to Herbsville Cartway, the little go-kart track, do some more drifting, get some more smoke going. I can't wait. It's gonna be so much better. So now I've got a good tranny in there. Hopefully it doesn't break. Cross your fingers for me, guys. I'm freaking stoked. Let's do this.